whole Zoom thing, I think I have it, and then I'm like, what's going on? I'm not sure if I do have it. Thank you for joining. Let me quickly introduce who you are, and then you are, let's get into it. How beautiful, by the way. Can we all just like, she's just gorgeous. You all just breathtakingly beautiful. My beautiful Nigerian friend, she was born and raised in Nigeria. Adaure is an intuitive guide who weaves spirituality and science together to deliver the message. Your message is exactly as you said. It's deeply relatable. It's actionable and proven. She really helps women embody their fullest potential, access intuition, and take action on their desires. Now, you also love to sing. I love this. I need to hear you. You currently reside in Ohio with your 3 sons, Austin, Brian, and Finian. Did I say his name right, Finian?
Yes,
yes. Well, I have had the pleasure of getting to know Adaure just over the past few months, and every time we speak, I just my heart feels your soul. You just have such a depth to you, Adaure, and I'm just so pleased to have you. Can we give her some love in the chats? Just type a heart or welcome here. She is, yeah, I'm just so blessed. You have quite a story. I want you to give a little backstory of who you are, and we're going to get into your story. I really want you to share really kind of what you shared with me, your story of growing up in Nigeria and how you moved through your life, and let's just kind of dive in. Take the stage.
Oh my God, Sarah, thank you so much for having me. Of course, when we talked, it was just magical. I think I was meant to meet you. You're one of the lights in my life, and I'm so grateful that I met you and that I'm a part of what you're doing. Thank you so much for having me here. I am Nigerian, and I am of the Igbo tribe, right? And my culture is a deeply rich culture and very beautiful, but it is also a culture that has transitioned into one that subtly subjugates women. It was not always like this, by the way. We used to have, you know, the warrior kings and all of that. But however, this is where we're at right now. So what that meant is that you were supposed to speak a certain way as a girl. You're supposed to act a certain way. You're supposed to even seek a certain way, okay? And some of these are really beautiful. For instance, the sitting, you know, you don't want a woman who is wearing something very short to just sit anyhow. So, you know, those aspects are really beautiful. But the part that I struggled with, and that I have seen a lot of women struggle with, is the fact that your voice is subtly, gradually silenced into nothingness. Okay, it's just something that is so gentle, you don't even see it, right? But then one day you want to speak and you know what you want to say and you cannot voice it out. You can't say it. So most of the women that I work with, what I keep hearing, especially even from my culture, is I know what to say, I don't know how to say it. They struggle with expressing themselves, and that is as a result of, you know, a blocked throat chakra. They cannot express themselves fully. So I struggled with that as a child because I was the wild one. Not wild in my character, however, I had these thoughts, okay? I've always been, I would say, the odd one out. I don't know why. I've struggled to blend in. It's just not my thing. Because a lot of things that people would consider normal, I question them. I love to question. So everyone knew me as the child that would ask a bunch of questions. So what that meant was that while my mates were playing and, you know, doing a whole lot of things, I wanted to sit with the elders in the huts, because in our tradition, we have this really huge huts where, and a hut is a house that is built with mud, right? And thatched roofs, right? So I would like to just sit around them and hear them speak, because I loved proverbs. we use a lot of proverbs where I come from, right? So I loved proverbs and I loved learning the wisdom of elders. And after getting that much knowledge, of course, I want to show it off. I want to talk about it. I want
to. And your peers are like, no.
I'm like, no, you can only learn so much before you start pouring. You can't help it. There's a limit to how much a person can absorb. So because I was constantly absorbing all these things, I want to talk about it. So next thing you know, I'm in class and I'm talking to my 8-year-old friend and I'm using proverbs. And by the way, in my culture, a woman is not really expected to use proverbs. It doesn't matter how old you are. So you can imagine.
Really?
Yes. So you can imagine a 6-year-old me.
So using
proverbs, right? I would always like to question things. That was just my personality. And the people around me, out of this deep love and care for me, they did not want to see me become a victim of the society, because they know what the society that I come from does to women like me. So because they had seen such traits in me as a little girl, they started to condition me. Okay. So that came in the form of, don't ask too many questions. Don't say too much. Hey, no, don't do that. They were just, they just really wanted to protect me. Right. And with time, I started to see what they saw. With time, I learned that there was a constant, using my voice had consequences. Okay, so naturally, out of my ego's need to protect me, I started to shrink. Little by little, I shrunk. And like I told you, Sarah, it worked. Ooh, it worked for the longest time. I was the golden girl. I had the perfect grades. But then at some point, it stopped working. And even, the thing is, I carried all of this, I carried it into my marriage.
Right.
Okay. I made a decision even before I got married. I said, separation is not an option. Divorce is not an option. If this man needs for me to be a mannequin for this to work, I'm going to do it. It was a decision made long before I got married. Right. And I did that. Okay, I actually did that. I was basically the yes member. Oh, is this what you want? And everything inside of me is raging and being like, no, screaming. I'm like, no, you gotta keep quiet. You're a woman. You're a woman. And it did not help that the person I was also dealing with, based on his own conditioning, also kept on reminding me, you're just a woman. You're just a woman. So this is the reason why if you go to my Facebook bio right now, you're going to see it on my bio. I have it there, woman. Okay. Because of that conditioning, I started hating and disliking the fact that I was a woman. It became a cross I had to bear. It was a burden that could not be lifted. I tried so hard not to be a woman. I didn't like being a woman. I had all these ideas. I had all these things that I wanted to say. I had things that needed to be heard, but I was just a woman. So I hated it. And I kept on telling people, anybody that cared to listen, I said, if I ever reincarnate, because I've always lived in reincarnation and we will like that, hello.
Like a man.
I said, if I ever come back here for any reason at all, I'm going to be a man. I'm not doing this woman thing anymore. I could not wait to pass and reincarnate as a man, because then I would be able to say what I needed to say. Then I would be seen. Then I would be heard. Then I would be valued, because I would no longer be a woman.
Wow. That's so, like, the power of what we as children, we're so moldable, right? Like, whatever your belief system or you've been told, you start to mold into it, and we start to become this crafted person of ourselves, which is not the created person. The created Adaure questioned everything and told proverbs.
Oh yeah.
And had a voice. And so that's sad that we become something that's not who we are.
Oh my goodness. Like, okay, I even at some point, after the raging continued in my marriage, I set a goal for myself. I said, for 365 days, I'm going to say yes.
Wow.
It does not matter what it is. If you want to burn the house, now I didn't tell my partner, but it was a decision again that I made, because that was my last attempt at saving my relationship. This was prior to 2017. In 2016, I said, if you decide to burn the house, I'm going to get you the gas and I'm going to get the lighter and I'm going to take the kids and step away. He does not know this till now. But it was a decision that I made, and I just rolled with it. 365 days. And he goes like, wow, now you are back. This is the woman I went to Nigeria to marry.
Ah.
And guess what? The day he said it, the jinx was broken again. Something snapped, and that was the last time. That was what broke the camel's back. I was like, oh, okay, so this is who I need to be for this to work. So I had to sit. I'm like, which is really more important to you? Holding on to this thing that is breaking you, that is hurting you little by little, or pursuing your God-given purpose and standing in your essence, which is more, is this worth the price? Isn't this too expensive of a price to pay?
Now, Adaure, I know it's interesting. Now it's both Tammy has shared her journey of marriage too, and there was elements where just it wasn't, you weren't being treated kindly, correct? Like it just wasn't a kind relationship towards you. Would that be correct? Or was he?
I don't word it that way, Sarah, and I do know that you are getting to that part, but I'll kind of explain why I don't feel that way anymore.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to love to hear it.
Yeah, the reason why I decided to let everybody off the hook, everybody off the hook, was because as I delved into spirituality, I understood karmic patterns and I understood karmic cycles. And I decided that I was not going to repeat the lessons that I had tried to learn with my blood, my sweat, my tears. So what that meant for me was that I had to let everybody off the hook. So I let myself delve into the history of this person. I try to see things from his own perspective, from the conditioning and the programming that he also received in the same society.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And then some things started to make sense, but then I took it a step further. I started to look into the history of the family. So when I understood it from his perspective, a part of me wanted to take that pain, because, with pain, we always want to find somebody who, somebody who is in the wrong. Like we want to let go of this pain, but we always feel the need to pass it on to someone else. Someone else has to be blamed. But the more I studied everything that had happened to this person as an individual, okay, to the family, I just couldn't do it. I decided not to do it, not because what they did to me was right, okay,
right,
but because number one, I wasn't ready to repeat this cycle to any, like I just couldn't do it. I just was not ready to do it. And that is what happens when you don't pass a class. That's what I tell my students and clients. If you don't pass a class, the universe keeps sending the same lessons until you learn it. So it doesn't matter if you switch to 10 husbands, it's gonna be the same experience.
Yeah. And I like that your point, because I mean, there comes a point if there is, it's an unhealthy spot, but the forgiveness is not, it's coming at it from a place of, if you're able to switch it, like you just said, it to a place of studying and understanding, and then all of a sudden there can be, not always, but there can be this compassion piece that comes, because you're seeing it from a different angle rather than when you're in it, you're now studying. As you said, that's so interesting how you can take it, study it, and get this brand new perspective of someone, and perhaps compassion can then start to happen in that instance. I like that perspective piece you just shared. That was really cool.
That was not an easy decision for me. But I understand that if I carry and I dwell on that pain, not only is it going to completely damage me, but I was going to pass on that hurt to my children. And this is what we see in most homes, you know, where the parents are not together. The children bear the brunt of that pain. And I wanted to always be a bright and shining light. I wanted to always be a bubbly person. I wanted to be a person that they would love to come and hug, and not because I asked them to, but because my energy draws them close. So I put that above everything else. I'm not going to pass this trauma. I'm not going to pass this pain on to my kids. You know, they didn't ask me to choose the partner that I chose. I chose and I attracted this person because I had unhealed parts of me that needed to be brought into, you know, onto the surface for me to heal. So I just, yeah.
There's so much power, Adaure, when you take full ownership, because all of a sudden it's like, if I own my healing, what I can do, I can break this generational thing. I can break the line. I can show my kids a different way. Like, that's so powerful that you stepped into that. I want you to take us through, because this was really beautiful, about your name. Do you remember sharing about your mom and your name? And would you share that part of your story?
Yes. So my name is Adaure, but my name was not always Adaure, okay? At least not publicly. Adaure is a name that was given to me by my father's mom, so my paternal grandmother, right? She would call me Adaure, and my mom picked that up and would now call me Adaure whenever I did something. So when I was when I was a child, I was super smart. I don't know if I'm still smart, but I used to be like really smart. You know, so I would win all these awards and stuff, you know, and people would carry me on their head. That's how we celebrate victory back in Nigeria. They would carry me on their head and just keep going around. And whenever I come back, my mom would be like, Adaure, Adambise, Adumevu. Now I'm from all these places. So she eulogizes me. She reminds me of my roots and the powerful men and women that came before me, right? So I love that feeling. And it was so powerful, even though I was a child. So when everything broke down, because my life shattered before, like, I did not understand that when you're trying to manifest the new, the old has to go away. I didn't get that part. Nobody told me about that part. So when I was asking and longing for this new me, the parts of me that were no longer serving started to fall about. That included my marriage. And during that moment, my mom passed. To put things in perspective, she was my sole parent. My mom was widowed at 25. So she was my compass. And we were so close that even though we're worlds apart, most times she was in Nigeria and I was here. If I needed to pick a dinner outfit, guess who I was going to call a video call? It was my mom. We were that close. So she was my total compass. And then she passes in this mess. And not only that, she passes while I'm speaking with her on the phone. Like, it just, I couldn't do it. I knew I knew I could not do it. So what I did was, I said, you know what? I'm going to take on the name Adaure. She's not here to call me Adaure every single time. But the thing is, I don't want to feel like Adaure when I accomplish something. I want to feel like Adaure every day. I want to embody the essence of Adaure. And meanwhile, Adaure, the word Adaure means a daughter that I am proud of. A daughter that we are proud of. A daughter that brings us so much pride. So I was like, I'm going to embody this Adaure thing. So I want people to call me Adaure. And I started writing poems and affirmations with the name Adaure. And that's how I became Adaure. I was not this person. That's why I tell people I am my greatest success story. Like, you could, if you go to my page, you could literally see me and watch my transformation journey.
Wow.
So that's what I tell parents. It's good to call your children beautiful names like Honey and Sweetie, but if you could do a child one of the greatest favors, can you just call them something that wakes up their spirit, that speaks to their spirit, their soul, their core, their being?
Mm,
because
yes.
everybody is honey and everybody is darling. But when I call my children, I have 3 sons, and it's important to me that they know who they are. Like, I don't ever want them to walk through the things that I walk through. So I started early. So they're listening to affirmations as they sleep. They're listening to subliminals as they sleep. As we're driving to school, we're listening to affirmations and affirming songs. And I tell them how beautiful of a week they're going to have. So when I call them, I'm like, I start speaking in my native tongue. And sometimes when I speak in English, you are amazing. There is nothing you cannot do. You're a king. And because you're a king, sometimes you have to do extra. Because the king never has the same level of knowledge as his subjects. What this means is that you get to read 1 extra book. You get to show up 1 extra day. Yeah?
I love this. Yes, so powerful.
Because so powerful. They see and they're like, wow, mommy, you're doing it. They tell everybody, my mom has a YouTube channel. My mom speaks, but they tell people what their mom is doing, right? But it is my job to make sure that they have their version of Adaure. So that if they find themselves anywhere else in life, they will start remember, because what we tell our children eventually becomes their self-talk.
Wow.
That is their self-talk. You're programming the kids. So whatever you tell them when they're little, because they believe you, they love you so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're not there, they start telling themselves. My boys to look in the mirror and they're like, I'm a king. But not in an egoistic way. It is in a way of, wow, I get to serve. But for me to serve, that means sometimes I have to make sacrifices. That means I have to continue to renew my mind. That means I have to be open to transformation. That means I don't get shackled to my comfort zone. I'm a king.
Yes. Preach, preach. No comfort zones. So good. So good. That you start to speak, just the renaming of you, like, because you renamed it, you claimed it. This is who I am. You stepped into it, you've embodied it, and now your kids are going to transform the world, because
that's it.
They are like, come on, look in the mirror. I am a king. Like, can you imagine if every morning from kids growing up, I am a queen, I am a king, and we just, yes.
That's it. That is what I'm committed to doing. That is what I've never met a person who did not want to meet my mom.
Yeah.
When people talk to me, next thing is, where is your mom? They want to meet the woman that made me. They want to meet my mom, you know, and she did so much parenting and we didn't like it. Because you know how you watch a movie and you see parental guidance is needed? Most parents don't do that. My mother did. She does not care if it's a 3-hour movie. She's going to sit there with you and reprogram your mind as you watch the movie. And we didn't like it. We wanted to watch adult stuff. We wanted to be big girls and big boys, right? But are we grateful that she did that, though? Are we struggling to be able to step into that leadership role and show up for our kids like that, though?
Yeah.
That was work.
Yeah.
That was work. Everybody wants to break generational trauma. And I say this, breaking generational trauma is work.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't wish it away. You cannot affirm it away. And I love affirmations. You can't.
Yeah.
It is work. You get to show up. You work and then you clean the bloodline through your inner work. And it's something you do until the day your life is through. You don't stop. Healing doesn't stop.
Yeah. That's so, I think that's, nobody wants to hear it, right? It's like, okay, what's the easiest road possible? Just give me the easiest road. Can I go? It's like, no, you can't. Like, you have choices in life. If you want to take the easy road, I can tell you, you're shortchanging yourself, you're shortchanging your kids, you're shortchanging your relationships. It is going through the muck of the inner facing the truth of what you need to work on, taking it out. It's like going weeding in your own garden, right? You cannot allow the weeds to grow.
I know, but I've never met a soul who likes weeding. People like planting though. It's fun. Right? New Year resolutions, vision boards. That's a fun path.
Yeah. But speaking of not right, no, nobody likes it. Nobody likes it. But I do like the weeds that come out really easily. Those ones are kind of fun. But you ever get those weeds that it's like, oh, come on, right? I hate those ones.
Sarah, do you ever sit up, be like, dang, I miss weeding. I think I should go hang out with some weeds today. Ever.
Girlfriend time, let's go weeding.
Let's go.
No. No one likes that part.
Yes, but that is what it takes. That is what the inner work is. It's a lot of crying, and it's a lot of remembering, and it's a lot of healing. Not because we're aiming for perfection. That's not why we're here, but because we're looking to expand our consciousness and to authentically be.
Yes.
Just be. I tell people the shortest cut is to go through it. Everything else is going to have you repeating these patterns. Go through it, cry through it, wail through it, scream through it if you need to, but go through it.
Yes. Oh, Adaure, I love that. The shortest cut is to go through it. Oh, yep. That's it. And how long are you prolonging it? If you're going to avoid, if you're going to try, the statement I think of when you say that, everywhere I go, there I am. It's like, let me try this road today. It's like, crap, I'm there too. And then I'm there too. I'm everywhere. You cannot escape. You run into yourself.
Everywhere. You'll leave this relationship. You'll leave this relationship to the next one. You show up as you. Your insecurities get weighted. You have to deal with it all over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. I just recorded a podcast this morning where I talked about people talking about role models and all of that, because I get that, people are like, I want you to be my role model. No, straight down, you don't need that. We don't need to see a watered down version of you trying to be like someone else. You are perfection. You are just great. You're not here to live by anybody's. Carve your own part. Just make your own mistakes, but read that as lessons. There is nothing like a mistake. There's nothing like that. You're just taking lessons. That's it. Just go be the beautiful, imperfectly perfect you. Take all the pieces and then alchemize the crap out of that. Turn it around. Transmute it.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved how, because you just had done summit as well, and how the title was, what was it again? The masterpiece.
That was from pieces to a masterpiece.
Yes, and I loved how, just explain that analogy, right? Because I love that analogy of the pottery, like how it's. Yeah.
Okay, so after all these things happened, meanwhile, Sarah, while I was trying to make sense of everything that was happening to me, I made so many mistakes. So many mistakes. So not only was I now dealing with, my world falling apart, I also had to deal with these mistakes that I made while trying to take shortcuts. That's why I tell people, don't do it. It's not a good idea. It doesn't work. Okay. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I was left with all these pieces of me here and there, and I didn't know what to do with it. I had heard the term beautiful skies, but I'm like, I don't know about that until I learned about the Japanese ancient art of kintsugi.
Yeah.
Where the Japanese people, make beautiful things and one-of-a-kind pieces from broken ceramics.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, I like that. So you're telling me that I can pick up all these pieces and actually make something remarkable, like essentially a masterpiece, because there's only one piece of this in the whole universe, sign me up. Let's go do it. Let's go do it. And that is the foundation of what my brand is rooted in, helping people who life has dealt with crazy things. They don't know what to do with it. It's just all over the place. Helping them bring all of that together and build a remarkable, one-of-a-kind life that they're deeply in love with.
Yes, and I love what you said when we talked, Adaure, before, how you're a masterpiece when you're created, you're a masterpiece in a million pieces, and you're a masterpiece back together, pieced back together. And the art of kintsugi, the powerful point that I love about that is that they pick up these pieces and they mix lacquer with gold and silver. That's how you're pieced back together, my friend, is with this beautiful laced gold and glitter, and all of a sudden this broken pottery is this incredibly, and then it's like, check out my scars, like, look at my scar here.
All
like
of a sudden you want to show off your scars. All of a sudden you want to show people, listen, I'm broken, but I'm beautiful. Like, I don't know if you saw, that was a song I used today to repost the banner. It's broken and beautiful. Like, it is such, anything that has not looked at the kintsugi art, just go look at these pieces. They are so beautiful. You can never find one that looks like the other.
Yes.
I feel like no pieces is broken in the same places. And that is such a beautiful representation of our stories. We're not broken in the same way. Everybody has a different story.
Yes.
Everybody has a beautifully different story.
Oh, I just love that. I love your, I'm just reading, yes, Mom, Shannon Bowman. She says, reminds me of a $1,000 bill. It's still worth the same, even if it's crumpled off and dropped. Yes, exactly. That's exactly. There's no, we fall in a million pieces. We fall forward. We learn. I loved how, what did you say about the mistakes are, how did you say it? Mistakes are lessons, but you said it in a cool way, but
oh yeah, the mistakes are lessons, and they are always there to teach us. I think the mistake that we make, we're the ones making the mistake by thinking that because we did all these things, right, we just cannot get up. There are people that have sinned, and because they have some kind of past thing that they dealt with because of their present, they just can't feel, they don't feel like they have the permission to speak out. Okay, and that is my goal. For some reason, those kind of people are drawn to me, and I'm drawn to them as well. I just want people to understand that they are irrevocably loved. They are irredeemably loved. There is a deep, deep, deep love for them that they can never get out of. They cannot get rid of. The love is ever present and sees them like they are a newborn child. Every day you get a clean slate. Imagine that. Every single day you get to show up as a brand new person. So nothing should be able to make you feel like you're less than it. Nothing.
That is so beautiful. Every day. It says it in the Bible, like your mercies are new every morning.
Every morning. That's it. I am yet to see a mess that cannot be turned into a message.
Yes.
Not one. And I've seen a lot of messes. I've seen a lot of messes, mine included. Not one that cannot be turned into a message.
And you know what I like about the message? That it gets you out of because a message should be shared. So it gets you out of, this is not, we are here to serve and love out, and don't just stay in your own little bubble and keep your message to yourself. Like, there's someone that needs it. Like, share. Once you're at that place of healing enough that you're like, look, I promise you there's someone that needs to hear your journey, because it's going to help them along the road. And if you keep it to yourself, you're actually robbing other people from seeing hope that they would have seen if you spoke out and shared your, and that doesn't mean go on a world stage. I feel like sometimes it's literally that you just are bold enough to share it with the one who you sense could use some hope, and you just one-on-one share it, right? Our message needs to be, I love that. You just say, oh, I could like write everything. Adaure said this. Adaure said this.
It does. And thank you so much, Sarah, for pointing that out, because people don't understand the power in vulnerability. They don't get it. When I was organizing the From Pieces to a Masterpiece event, I spoke with a lot of incredible speakers from all around the world. And as we continue the vetting process, one thing that I always had to remind them is this, because they were worried that they were oversharing. I say, share what you are led to share. Yeah. Because sometimes if people don't understand and they don't know the depth of your pain, they cannot relate to your message.
Yeah.
If you attempt to keep it superficial and be like, you're just like everybody else. So they're like, oh no, she doesn't get it. She's never had it this bad.
Yes.
But there's a chance that you've had it worse. And you lost a chance to save a person's life, their purpose, the destiny.
Yeah.
It is our ego that keeps us in the place of wanting to keep up this facade, because we want to be seen a kind of way. But the soul, it knows no fear. It's not bothered about the trolls. It doesn't care about people that whether people are going to drag you alive. Your soul doesn't care.
Right.
It's here to serve.
Yeah.
So reach deep into your being and find those things that make you uncomfortable, but you know that someone else needs to hear it. And then you share it. Little by little, like she said, it doesn't have to be on a wall. You don't have to go on TEDx. It's cool if you do. Send it to me. I'll to it. But
tell me if you do.
I mean, little by little by little. That's it. That's how we serve.
Yeah. Oh, just absorbing it. And I think there's something about, because as soon as someone else shows their, okay, this is a cool analogy. I need to share this with, is exactly what my husband always shares this analogy. In the Bible, there's a story of David and, no, is it David and Jonathan? Yeah, they're really good. They're best friends. They're like brothers.
David
and there's a place. Yeah, there's a place in the Bible where it talks about how, I think it was David took off his armor because he was, his battle armor. He takes off his armor and he gives it to Jonathan. And what that shows is that all of a sudden, when David takes off his armor, he's completely exposed. Like, he's completely vulnerable. He's taken off all his armor and he's given it to his brother. And the beautiful representation of, if I am in a space with someone and I can take off my armor to go first and expose and show you that, like, I care enough about you to show you, have that vulnerability. Isn't that a beautiful representation? If I go first and now okay, wow, she's vulnerable, she's willing to, now I'm potentially safe to share. Yeah.
It is so powerful. Forget about beautiful. It is so powerful when we're able to do that. I have made a decision.
Oh, your sound dropped. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, you made a decision and then you cut out.
Yeah, sorry about that. Someone tried to call me. I said, I have made a decision, and this was made after I had a near-death experience, right? During a surgery, right? That I am gonna come out and stand naked and not ashamed. What this means for me is that no part of my story gets to be unheard, ever.
Right.
Okay? It doesn't care, I don't care how ugly it sounds. It's just a matter of time before I build my spirit up to that point where I can share that. When we talked, I said, I've never shared this before. I've never shared this before, And then I remembered I made myself a promise So I am gonna commit to that. It means
that is powerful. Yeah.
That's it. I'm gonna be vulnerable. I'm gonna show you. Some of my clients, why they come to me, they would say, there was something you said. You told me that you were still working on this. And I said, yes, of course. I would love to be a guru, but I'm not. Nobody has this figured out. Now, understand that there are steps that I have taken and have come out on the other side, and I'm more than happy to serve in that capacity. However, don't ever see me as someone who has attained that level of enlightenment to where I don't have things I'm working on.
Right. And Adaure, you said that line last time we talked, I loved it. How sometimes you're teaching from your knees. Like you're literally in it.
Yes. Yes.
That's hard. That's not everybody can do that. Well, that's hard.
Teaching from my knees. Because sometimes we forget. When we heal through certain stuff, we forget. So sometimes we are sent tests just to help us awaken empathy. Okay?
Yeah.
So that next time when you're telling that single mother with 2 kids to just, it's okay, it's going to be all right, you would feel the heaviness of those words. You would understand again, you would remember what it feels like to be in those shoes. And in those times, I would be on my knees because I'm going through it. But then I still show up and I tell you, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna do this together. We'll be fine. We'll be all right. One day I'm gonna share my story, but today I'm gonna serve you from my knees.
Yeah. Oh, Adaure, I can't believe the time flies with all these beautiful. The vulnerability is so beautiful, and I think my passion is to instill more sisters. Yes, not to discount the brothers, but I just have an infinity for women, as you share, like to find their voice. Whether you are, a million battle scars, find your voice. Someone needs your voice. Just like perhaps they needed, at some places in my life, I needed another voice to say, hey, you're gonna make it through. Like you will. And now I've made it through enough to say, okay, I can turn around and say, hey, yeah, you're gonna make it through too. Like sisters, yes, you find our voices. Like, there's such an illumination about you, Adaure, because you're so able to, all my story will be shared. That is an illuminating beauty that spills over then into who you speak to, spills over into your children. And that begins to, the world gets brighter because you're brighter. Like we all have that place to illuminate, and you do that so well. Like, I just.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We're like a minute over. That's okay. I gave myself 15-minute buffer because I was like, I know I'm gonna be wanting to talk longer to all these beautiful speakers. It's like, good thing I gave myself a buffer.
That's so beautiful. I'm gonna say this for anybody that is watching, will watch, that is looking to serve.
Yeah.
In any aspect, really, or listen, the ego has a way of trying to steal your message. In its bid to keep you safe. Remember, it's not the enemy. It's just trying to help you survive, right? It will try to take away your message by reminding you of your mistakes, your shortcomings, the things you're still struggling with, your limiting beliefs. It just wants to keep you safe, that's all. It is up to you as a healer, as the voice of your generation, as the visionary that you were created to be, the light bearer.
Yeah.
To transcend the ego every single time and show up.
Yes. Yes. And you
every
get to.
Single time. You get to do that. You get to do that. Yeah. Because you have to remember that when you're serving from a soul space, you don't feel those things. Have you ever been to church on a Sunday morning? What do you feel like when you leave the church? You feel like you're invincible. You feel like you can conquer the world. You feel like you can do anything. And that is how you were designed to be, but not only on Sundays.
Yeah.
You get to be that person and feel that way every single day. So whenever you're not feeling like that about your message, that's the ego. That's the ego. You have to remember that your message is not about you. The things you went through, you took one for the team. It's not only about you. It's not for you to hoard and to keep, because I can bet my money on it that there are some people listening to me right now that are able to be alive and show up for one extra day because somebody shared the message.
Yes.
Somebody put the ego in check and showed up, and that's why you're here.
Yeah.
That's why you're here. So you get to give back to the world by transcending the ego, by leaning here, leaning in, go from here, down here, and share your message.
I love it. Adaure, you are such a blessing. I'm just so thankful to God for bringing you into meeting you and sharing a space in life with you. It's just, so what I'm just thrilled at the end of all of this, I have a link or an email sent out to everybody so that they can find you. Anyone that wants to, I've linked Adaure in there as far as her pages. And what am I missing, Adaure?
Oh, the calendar link for the complimentary consultation call.
Yes, so you have access if you want. She's included that as an amazing bonus. So if you want to connect with her, it's going to be sent out in the email. You'll have the links able to. I don't even know where, let's, one final thought you want to leave with everyone as you go off into your beautiful day, my friend.
I would say you are beyond powerful. And I know you've heard this so many times, so let me break that one down for you.
Hold on, as you're speaking, I want people to right now in the chat, please give her some love and share something that spoke to you, please, so that we can leave her with a little bit of love for giving us her time. Okay, now you can go.
Thank you. Yeah, you are not simply human. I have a beautiful trash can and the brand name is Simply Human, and that is beautiful. It's intuitively designed, it works well. However, there is nothing simple about your experience as a human being. You can do incredible things and you are so powerful. You are beyond powerful. And I know that there's someone who's listening to me who's going to be like, no, I don't feel so powerful right now. That's okay. Just because you don't see air, that does not mean it's not there. You're still breathing. You are still breathing. You are powerful. And I don't know if you happen to be in a place where you're giving your power away to things that robbed you of something, events that shook you to the core of your being, okay? People that took from you and never gave back, took advantage of you. Examine all the ways you're giving your power away and reclaim it. Take it all back. We're gonna need all of that juice to form this beautiful masterpiece that is you.
Mic drop. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, let's just quickly read you some love on here. Thank you. Can you see the chat? Adaure, you're a beautiful soul. I'm going to be starting affirmations. Love it. Love how you speak your children's identity. That really spoke to people. I love that because that's huge.
Okay, let me
Sometimes you're teaching from our needs. Give you more. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Michelle, Naomi, Shannon, Cynthia. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is
Thank
just the
you for
start of a beautiful
having
friendship, and
me.
you
Thank
gifted
you.
everybody with your wisdom and beautiful story. We just sending you off with love.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor being here. Thank you. I'm so grateful for you and for everybody that watched. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, let's. I want to hear some more.